Where else in the States can you learn about sciences in a different language, but an immersion experience where it's hands-on? As an educational organization like the Language BioHaus in Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota, we really focus on influencing the affairs of the world and also training and educating global citizens. And the BioHaus is simply an example of how we fulfill that mission.
We are in Bemidji, Minnesota, at Concordia Language Villages. This behind me is their newest building in the German language camp or village called Waldsee. And it's the BioHaus. The BioHaus was funded by the German Foundation for the Environment. It's the first Passive House certified building in the United States. It is about 85% below Minnesota Energy Code. So this, by default, is probably one of the most energy efficient buildings ever built in the United States. What we're importing from Germany is a building culture. And that building culture is one which respects the environment and is very resource efficient. So by the time we really get to energy, we're trying to make as much as we get for free. We try to use and incorporate and use technology to achieve that. So the BioHaus is insulated, like having a very well insulated jacket on. So good insulation or the super insulation, when you get to that in buildings, it's very important that you have it airtight, otherwise it's running around with that Gore-Tex jacket open and let the 40 below weather in. LEED is a rating system for sustainable buildings. They have a component in there which does rate the building in respect to energy. They base that upon the local state energy code. You get the maximum rating by having used 60% less energy than the state building code. We use here 85%, so we are 60% below 60%. That would make this a double platinum LEED energy building. Most of when people think about energy and energy conservation, first question is, what do I have to give up? You don't have to give up, you get more. It becomes more comfortable.
The exciting part about the BioHaus for us as an institution is that it really ties in with the mission and our focus on education, with a focus on international education, global education, and working specifically with children. And that fits really well with what Concordia College does as a larger institution as well. The BioHaus is a prime example of teaching language through content, so hands-on learning, and languages typically aren't taught by just learning a language without a context, and the BioHaus provides a context. That's really what the language villages do in general. In all of our educational endeavors and methodologies, it's based on the content of what we're trying to teach at the same time as the content itself.
The BioHaus represents a different perspective. And I think one of the main tasks I believe in education has is giving different perspective of the world and things we do. And so teaching that, this perspective, especially here in an environment where cultural difference is also taught as perspective and used for language learning, I think is a great environment to demonstrate that that's not only applies to languages but to everything in life. Also building buildings. The client here teaches languages as an immersion program, meaning going and being in the culture, living the culture, and learning languages on the side, not in a classroom type setting. And the BioHaus here is basically the same thing as learning a language. It's just still learning German, but learning it in an environmental living setting. with some more science and mathematical games behind it. And to me, it's a very, very interesting approach, and I think this building will serve as a great tool to achieve their goal of their mission to show these different cultures to kids here in the United States and from abroad. It's a great job they're doing here.
You can't help but be inspired by it, and you can't help, I think, to see that the children will take something away from it, or anybody who really engages with the building, because we do obviously also do programming with adults and college students and all that. Impact hopefully will be that once we've experienced this building as a user, we go out and hopefully have an impact on the rest of the world by influencing our friends, our families, our parents in looking at how we interact with the environment and in sustainable ways.